or what everyone in this room has heard about. But trust me, everyone has a different meaning about it. Now I know some of you, for some of you, it's about going online, checking your Facebook. For some of you, it's checking how much Instagram followers you have. And I know some people are still stuck at those spammy websites that claim they can hack any social profile and then start copying their best friend's URL and try numerous days to hack the profile. It doesn't happen. So, and by the way, that's what the T here stands for. Now, if you look at that ugly website over there, I created that when I was 12 after teaching myself some HTML. So you go onto this website, you answer a few questions about how you're feeling on the day, and you hit the submit button and then go on another few options. And this website then chooses a Justin Bieber song that suits your mood. So as you can see, my relationship with the word technology was a bit weird. Maybe everyone too deep into it. So as I grew up, my love for computer programming deepens, and I joined this computer club at my school. And they have this habit of participating in these events called hackathons. Now I know most of you don't know what a hackathon is. So this hackathon culture comes from a place called Silicon Valley in California. The place where Facebook, Google, Apple, and Microsoft come from. And if you have seen the movie Social Network, which is about Mark Zuckerberg's journey to becoming the world's youngest billionaire, you might have seen this part.
What's going on?
We have 10 minutes to get root access to a Python web server, expose its SSL encryption, and then intercept all traffic over its secure port.
They're hacking.
Yes, all behind a fixed firewall emulator, but here's the beauty.
You know I didn't understand anything you just said, right?
I do know that.
So what's the beauty?
Every 10th line of code written, they have to drink a shot. And hacking's supposed to be stealth, so every time the server detects an intrusion, the candidate responsible has to drink a shot. I also have a program running that has a pop-up window appear simultaneously on all 5 computers. The last candidate to hit the window has to drink a shot. Plus, every 3 minutes, they all have to drink a shot.
Now if you subtract drinking and commercialize it, you will end up with today's world of hackathons. So it's like a group of people who are passionate about technology. They come under one roof and they sit at their laptops for 24 hours and make mobile applications or software development to solve a current world problem. And if they're really good at it, they might win some money, like really great cash prizes. And this culture of hackathons, from the campus of Stanford in Palo Alto, California, to an Indian city you may have never heard about. This culture goes on. And from a community of Harvard CS graduates to some high school students in Bangladesh, this community is as diverse as it could be. And that forms the very significance of it. Say if you are a 12-year-old who is introduced to this world of hackathons. You're introduced to the success stories of Facebook, Apple, Google. And I think that's how innovation should happen. That's how we should move towards the future. And trust me, Silicon Valley has shaped how you guys think the future will be. Filled with robots and smartphone-powered coffee machines. So as I entered the world of hackathons, I was introduced by some principles of innovation. How to be successful if you want to be the next billionaire. So the first thing is being original. Now originality is a big thing in Silicon Valley. You cannot copy an existing idea because you would be seen as a loser. But here's a tip. We use this phrasing a lot in hackathons. We are the X of Y. And how do we use it? So these are the 3 past projects that my school team made in the past hackathons. And don't just judge a few bunch of high schoolers. Y Combinator is Silicon Valley's premier startup school. That has provided us with some of the most amazing companies like Reddit and PayPal. These were the 3 finalists from last year. Now you cannot call these startups really original because they aren't the Uber, they are not the Amazon. This is a new way of being original. If something works in Silicon Valley, if something works in New York and California, you have to take it and apply it to every other region to be successful. That's how it works. And then there's another quote by Henry Ford. This actually demonstrates how people think innovation should happen. So if you look at it, there's no need to solve any problem anymore. Because people don't know what they wanted. You get to decide what they want. For example, in 2014, there's this amazing innovative company which promises smartphone-powered juice machines. So it's like you tap some buttons on a smartphone and you get a juice like in 2 minutes. And Silicon Valley loved it. $124 million were invested before even they started making these products. And then they started shipping it, and then customers put up these videos on internet where they were just able to just press these packets that were supposed to be inside the machines and make the same juice in half of the time as the machine. And so you could spend like $5 to get a glass of juice, but for this you have to spend $400. And investors went crazy, they took out their money, the customers went crazy, and so did the media. And this whole thing changed into a fiasco. Now, this demonstrates another principle of Silicon Valley's innovation. Scaling it up ASAP. If your idea works in a research lab, if your idea works in a testing region, you have to take it, get the investments, and bring it to every other region, every other customer on the world. But we don't even care if some investors in Silicon Valley lose their money, right? But I know some of you in the whole thing have the dream of making this world a better place. And there's the similar people in Silicon Valley too. They think that innovation is the answer to all our global problems. Now imagine you putting these principles applying these principles on a needy world. So, 6 years ago, my cousin started working at this international NGO, which had an innovative solution for Africa's water scarcity. So this was the product. So that's a merry-go-round, and the children are supposed to play on it. And as it revolves, there's a boring hole that is connected underneath the ground. So as they play on it, water is pumped into that tank. And by the way, the tank also has an advertising board to get more funds. The idea looked really good on paper, and everyone loved it. Billions of dollars came in from USAID and United Nations, even personal endorsements from Jay-Z and DJ Mark Ronson. And then this organization had an ambitious dream to make 4,000 of such pumps all over Africa and bring clean drinking water to 500 million people. But did this actually work? Well, within 1 year of the launch, it was clear that the expectations weren't going to be met. Well, if you look at the calculations and the capabilities of the pump, it would take these children to play on that merry-go-round for 27 hours every day to meet that 500 million goal. And within 2 years, UNICEF found really a large amount of instances where most of these pumps were abandoned. Now remember the principle, scaling it up ASAP, bringing the product into everyone's hand. This principle was so emphasized that most of these villages weren't even asked if they wanted to play at these pumps. They were just given one, often by just replacing their hand pumps. And the children aren't that excited to play on the merry-go-rounds early in the morning, then in the afternoon, then in the evening, and then before midnight to bring water to the home. So as you can see, in some regions, the adults started paying kids to operate these merry-go-rounds. An adult cannot fit on that merry-go-round, so that kept the very comfortable. Now, what you just saw isn't something really extraordinary. It's just a simple narrative that comes with the idea of Silicon Valley's innovation. If your idea works in a research lab, you get the investments, you bring it to every part of the world, and the end product most often failure, and people get away with it. Now, my talk today isn't about bashing the idea of international development. It's about why we need to change how we think about innovation and technology. Because Silicon Valley is so strong that the people who are really passionate with the letter T here in developing regions think that that is the way we should move towards the future. These young kids, for example us. So in 2014, some friends and I started working on this application during a hackathon. So Indian urban slums have a problem. Most of the people aren't aware of the social welfare programs that the government has. So that means the women cannot get access to maternal care, or the women cannot, and the males cannot get access to any other employment schemes, or vice versa. And the families can get access to any other government schemes that support banking or other services. Our application was really simple. It's a smartphone application that uses personal data, such as birth date of the child or something else, to give weekly tips, connecting mothers to maternal care facilities, and etc. And we failed within 1 month of launch. We were really excited. We won $500 from the hackathon. And we had a dream to bring this product into the hand of every slum dweller in India. The thing was, India still lives in a digital deficit. Less than 2% of the people actually have access to internet in the urban slums. And even if a woman had a smartphone, it couldn't work because 87% of the women that were surveyed by our local campaigns said that they couldn't read in their mother tongue. Now there were obviously other flaws with our reasoning, but the major flaw was like the way we thought this problem should be solved, the way we thought we should find a solution, the way we thought we should innovate. Now today I'm going to introduce you to a new world of innovation. And I will start by asking a question, just by a show of hands. How many of you have an iPhone? How many of you have an Android phone? Alright. How many of you were still owning a BlackBerry in 2017? No one's told me. But, okay, but this phone, now you call it a featured phone. And according to you, it must be dead by 2010. But this phone is a smartphone for millions of people right a few miles away from us. It has a torch, it has great battery life, it can be used as a weapon, and why? Because most of these regions have electricity shortages. And by the way, you can access Gmail, you can update Facebook much faster than weak Wi-Fi because it uses SMS. And few months away in Nairobi, there are people who are buying groceries, who are paying fees of the children using this phone. Now, M-Pesa is an innovative solution and is completely revolutionizing how these people make transactions in their daily lives. And it works on every phone because it uses SMS. Now, India recently had a boom of these smart board thingies, and they call it smart boards. They come with like really educational videos to make learning a really fun process for the city students in their high schools. But in some distant village in Varanasi, the part of India, the women are using these SMS phones to learn mathematics and English and then teach their kids. So Human Welfare Association of Varanasi is using SMS-based notifications to teach these women about mathematics and English and thus connect them to employment opportunities, and they can also teach their kids using that. Why? Because they don't have access to those smart board technologies. And in Kenya, there are millions of farmers who are using V-Farm application and those kind of phones to connect with other farmers and see if their crops are absorbing the right amount of water. Why? Because they don't have access to Facebook. V-Farm works because it works on phones like that. Now this is pure form of innovation. It is out of necessity. It's like you see a problem right at hand and you innovate it because you're facing the challenges. And these organizations, they defy every rule of Silicon Valley's concept of innovation. For example, Ford's code, it doesn't even apply here because it isn't about making millions or billions of dollars. It's about what problem there is and then you start solving it. Scale it up ASAP. Now, M-Pesa today is accountable for 40% of Kenya's total GDP. But organizations like M-Pesa start really small and their development is often hindered by various obstacles like electricity shortages, lack of access to internet, and other challenges. And they make use of incremental funding. They grow slowly, bit by bit. And unlike that juice-making startup, they cannot get investments from Silicon Valley by just showing their idea. These organizations need to make an impact to get their money. That is statistics of M-Pesa today, after 10 years. Now, there's another South African who is completely revolutionizing technology and innovation. Now, he's completely changing the way we think about automobile industry. He also says he could take us to Mars, hopefully in my lifetime if they don't crash that much. And these people, they've already made to history books, they're already on the walls. But these people, they're the most famous entrepreneurs that nobody knows about. They're working quietly in their own regions and they're changing, they're creating their own world of innovation. And the organization that my cousin worked for still exists. They're still trying to prove why the organization still works. Maybe after making some changes. And we still made true. We changed our name. We said, instead of Mera app, we call it Mera SMS, which translates to My SMS. And we scraped off the idea of smartphone. We used SMS-based notifications. And we are not completely revolutionizing the world because we don't need to. We're just moving a small bit by bit, moving from slums to slums. And just learning from these startups and learning from these people how innovation should be done. So at the end, I would just say that while the world is still busy updating Facebook statuses or making smartphone-powered coffee machines, there's another world that's innovating in a very different way. And it is really time to actually think and change our perceptions of innovation. We need to move to a better future. Thank you.